In this video, we're going to create some buttons similar to what we created in the last video, but this time we're going to talk about using different instances of the same symbol to create your buttons. So in other words, we're just going to create one button symbol, but we're going to create multiple buttons out of it. So we're going to start by using the rectangle tool. Let's turn off our stroke, and just for the sake of variety, let's choose a different fill color. And we'll create the basic shape of our button. Now this is going to be all of our button. Our button's not going to have any text in it at all. Later on, after we create our button instances, we're going to throw some text on top of those buttons. But for now, we're just going to create a button that's nothing more than a rectangle. So we're going to click on that rectangle to select it, hit F8 to convert it to a symbol. It's going to be a movie clip symbol, and we'll just call it button BG. The registration point is going to be on the upper left hand corner. We'll click on OK, and there's our button. Okay, now we're going to give this an instance name. For now, let's call this home_MC. This will be our home button. We'll create a new layer. On the bottom layer, we'll just call this buttons, lock the buttons layer, double click on the top layer, call it actions, lock the actions layer, click on frame 1 for the actions layer, and hit F9 to open up your actions. Okay, this is going to be a similar button. It's going to behave in the same manner as our last buttons did. So we need to import the tween class before we do anything else. Import fl.transitions.tween with a capital T. And then import the easing classes. Import fl.transitions.easing. Asterisk. Okay, so we've imported those. We can use those when we get to it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a starting value for our width. So var start width, it's going to be a number, so we'll type :number with a capital N, and we'll set that equal to the current width of our home button. So home_MC dot width. Okay, so let's skip a couple lines, and let's first of all make sure that this acts like a button. So we're going to turn button mode on. Home_MC dot button mode equals true, and then we'll add our event listeners. So home_MC dot add event listener. This is going to be for the rollover. So mouse with a capital M, event with a capital E dot roll over, comma space, and when we hover over the home_MC button, we'll create a function called button over. Okay, so we'll jump to the next line. Home_MC dot add event listener. This time it will be for the rollout event, so mouse event dot rollout, comma space, and we'll create a function called button out. Easy enough. Okay, so in our button over function, we'll create that button over. Inside the parentheses, we need the event variable, so e::mouse event :void to tell Flash it's not going to return any values, and we'll put our opening and closing curly brackets, and inside the function we'll create our tween. So new tween, we're going to point to e.current target. That's the object that we're going to tween. We're going to tween the width of it, so we'll type width inside quotation marks, comma, and then the easing function we're going to use. We'll use strong.easeOut. Get rid of those parentheses there, comma. The starting and ending value for when we hover over it. The starting value is going to be start width. The ending value is going to be start width plus 20, comma, and then we want it to take up 8 frames, so 8, comma, false. There we go. Okay, now let's highlight this, copy it, skip a couple lines, and put our button out function. So we paste it there, we'll change over to out. New tween, we're still going to animate current target width, except our starting width is going to be whatever the current width is at the time that we move our mouse button away from it. So we'll point to e.currentTarget.width, and our ending width is going to be simply start width, not start width plus 20, but just start width, and it's going to take up 8 frames, so 8, comma, false. We're not going to use seconds, that's what the false is for. Okay, so let's make sure that this works. Control Enter to test, hover over it, it expands, move away, it goes back. Easy enough. Okay, now let's take a look at using different instances of the same symbol. So we're going to do something similar to what we did before. Let's unlock the buttons layer, click on this button symbol, we'll copy it and we'll paste it and move that down, and we'll do that 3 times so that we have 4 buttons just like we did before. Except this time we're not going to duplicate these. We're not going to make new symbols out of these. What we're simply going to do is change the instance names. So this will be about_MC. This will be products_MC, and the bottom one will be contact_MC. So now we have 4 buttons here. Let's go up here to our actions, and we simply need to create, let's get rid of this extra line break in here. We need to create these lines of code for all of those buttons, just like we've done before. So copy that, paste it, and paste it. So we've pasted it 3 times. We just need to change the names of the buttons. The second one is about_MC. Third one is products. And the last one is contact. Okay, so now we can test our movie, and each one of these works just fine. Very good. So now all we have to do is put our text over the buttons. So we'll just create a new layer above the buttons layer, and we'll call this layer text. And then we'll click on the text tool. We'll choose white for the fill color, and then we'll type in our text, home. We'll take this, we'll nudge it into place, and let's go ahead and copy it and paste it in place, Control-Shift-V, and then move it down. We'll just copy it a few times. Second one is about us. The third one is products. And the fourth one is contact us. Okay, so now we test our movie, and we have 4 buttons just like we did before. Now one thing you want to make sure if you decide to do it this way is, if we select one of these text fields, make sure that selectable is not turned on. If we turn on selectable for all of these, then when we test our movie and try to hover over this, you'll notice that we get the insertion cursor and we can highlight our text here, and that interferes with the functioning of our buttons. So you just want to make sure. In fact, we can hold on to Shift as we select all 4 of these text fields, and then just make sure that selectable here, this little AB symbol in the properties panel, make sure that that's turned off. So now when we test our movie, we can't select that text, and the text does not interfere with the functioning of the button. And that's how you can create multiple buttons using the same symbol. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, the thing that makes this appealing is that you're just dealing with a very, very simple movie clip. You're not dealing with a movie clip within a movie clip, and you're just dealing with the same movie clip 4 times. So that same movie clip is basically saving us some file size in our final Swift file. Anytime you have to create multiple movie clips with the same basic shape in it, you're unnecessarily creating extra file space. In other words, if all 4 of these were different movie clip symbols with different static rectangles in it, then the shape for that rectangle would have to be stored in our Flash file 4 separate times. But since this is just one movie clip symbol that we're using, or one movie clip symbol that we're using 4 times, it only has to store the information for that shape once. And so that saves us a little bit of file size. And again, it's not a huge hit on our file size to do it the other way. This isn't saving us, 5 megs of file space or anything like that. It's just saving us a very small amount. But if you get in the habit of doing things like this, where you're reusing as many assets as you can, then when you're building a very, very large website, eventually that's going to add up, and it's really going to save you a significant amount of file space. And another advantage to this is it's very easy to change things. If you decide you want another button, or if you decide you want to change the text for one of the buttons, you don't have to go into a movie clip symbol, find the text layer and edit it there. Instead, you can just select the text here and change it. So there are a couple advantages to doing it this way, but the advantages are not necessarily huge. They're just small advantages. So you can choose which way you want to do it. I just wanted to let you know there are multiple ways of creating multiple buttons like this that function in the same manner. So hopefully that's a little bit helpful to you. Let's save our file, and let's just save this as buttoninstances.fla. So we'll save that, and we'll move on with the next video.